Welcome to CompSci360, the ultimate virtual summit for MS in computer science in the UK. This two-day summit will give you a 360-degree view around everything related to MS in computer science in the UK, with subject knowledge experts and student mentors from top universities. Before we hear from the expert, we want to walk you through the CompSci community on the Nebula platform, a dedicated space for you to connect with other attendees and build lasting relationships with fellow computer science enthusiasts. Throughout this summit, you will interact with a number of subject knowledge experts, and if you wish to get a personalized one-on-one mentorship session or get your queries addressed, you can book a slot with them by visiting their Nebula profile. We believe that this session will enhance your learning experience and help you achieve your study abroad goals. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you enjoy the summit.
Hello everyone and welcome to CompSci360, the ultimate virtual summit for MS in computer science in the UK. I am Sadhana, part of the Nebula engagement and outreach team, and I'll be your host for the day. Thank you for joining us today on this beautiful Saturday morning. And in this talk, we'll be discussing scholarship opportunities for Masters in Computer Science programs in the UK. But before we dive into the details, let me introduce to you what Nebula is and how we can help you achieve your international study and work aspirations. At Nebula, we strive to bring transparency, accessibility, and awareness about everything related to international studies and work. We connect international students, alumni, scholars, and experts from every related field to provide you with the resources and experience insights you need to make informed decisions about your international education and career. Now, CompSci 360 is a summit organized by Nebula specifically for students aspiring to study MS in computer science programs in the UK. Our goal is to equip you with the knowledge and resources you need in order to succeed in that. Before we get started, please make sure you're in a quiet area with a stable internet connection. And if you have any questions during the talk, please feel free to ask them in the chat box and we'll answer them at the end of the session. Without any further delay, it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker. Please welcome Akashdeep Dey, a Commonwealth scholar who completed his master's in sustainable energy systems from the University of Edinburgh. Today, he'll be sharing his valuable insights on scholarship opportunities, including the Commonwealth Scholarship, available for Masters in Computer Science programs in the UK. Akashdeep's expertise and experience make him an ideal resource for anyone interested in pursuing higher education in the field of computer science or sustainable energy. So, without further ado, let's hear from him and learn more about the opportunities available to us. So, Akashdeep, we'd like to hear a bit more about your background and experience. So, could you take a moment to, share about your journey and experience with us?
Yes, thanks a lot, Sadhana. And before I go ahead to introduce myself, I'd like to thank Nebula and you and the entire team for inviting me on this Saturday morning for a talk and, being able to present my experiences in front of such a wide audience. I'd welcome everybody who is there, and I hope we have an enjoyable and somewhat an interactive session as well. So yeah, if I have to introduce myself, so initially I did a master's degree in physics in India, and then after that I wanted to shift over to sustainable energy systems, and I wanted to pursue my master's in the UK at that time. This was back in 2018, 19, that area. So then I looked up a number of courses in the UK. I applied to some 5 or 6 universities, maybe 7, I don't remember now. And incidentally, I heard back from all of them with a positive response. I found Edinburgh course to be very well suited to me, so I went over to Edinburgh, and as luck would have it, or as things would go ahead, I did get the Commonwealth Scholarship, which made things, finances, and not just finances, which made everything else a lot easier to me uh, in the UK during my studies. So yes, perhaps with my little experiences here and there, I could try to help future students who are trying to take up any degree, not just a computer science or a sustainable energy, but since these scholarships or the experiences are more or less general, uh, I will go into the details of how general it is when we go ahead. But since these are more or less general, they do apply to sort of a number of fields. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks for the introduction, Akash. That's That's quite an intriguing, introduction, and we're all curious to hear from you. So you did mention that you applied for a bunch of universities. So what inspired you to pursue a master's degree in sustainable energy?
Right. So, as I said, I did a master's degree in physics, and after completing my degree, physics is a great subject, really enjoyable and all that. But then, I wanted to study something which had a little more impact in the world in general, and obviously, sustainable energy and climate change is one of those regions which is really important at present for research and development. And well, not just when I completed my physics masters, but even during my physics masters, I wanted to have a contribution in this domain. And so after completing my masters in physics, I decided that, okay, no, I will not go ahead with a pure physics PhD. I will go ahead with research in sustainable energy. So I would rather do a master's degree, since the field, okay, there is overlap between physics and sustainable energy, because ultimately any engineering is somewhat based on physics other than computer engineering. But yeah, any engineering more or less is based on physics. So there are some overlapping zones, but there would be still a vast area which I would not be aware of. So I wanted to pursue a master's, get to know the details of the field, and then pursue a PhD, which I am going to begin very soon. So yeah, this is what inspired me. I wanted to have real impact in this particular field and try to save the world in future. Yeah.
I'm sure you will. That's kind of obvious. So going to the next question. So can you tell us more about the Commonwealth Scholarship and how it can benefit international students pursuing master's degrees in the UK?
Okay, so I'll start with a one-liner. I cannot imagine my master's degree in the UK without the Commonwealth Scholarship now, if I look back. So it was that impactful, or that important for my journey. So what is the Commonwealth Scholarship? It is, I'll talk about the Commonwealth Masters Scholarship first, since I was a Commonwealth Master Scholar, and then try and generalize it a little later. So the Commonwealth Scholarship is something awarded by the Foreign and Commonwealth Office of the government of the United Kingdom, of the British government. And they award some, I don't know, for every country, they have a stipulated number of scholarships every year for the master's category. I think in our year in India, it was around 11 or 12 master scholarships. I am not completely sure about the exact number now. I have forgotten slightly. But yeah, and this scholarship uh, covers everything, every kind of cost that we can even think of. University fees fully covered. We do get a monthly stipend, which is quite good to be able to live in the UK. It does give us. I wouldn't. I fear to use the word lavish. It's definitely not lavish, but the stipend that we get on a monthly basis is allowance and stuff like that. So it's basically a scholarship which takes care of any kind of expense that a student can even imagine to come across while in the UK. And even besides this, there is a set of miscellaneous cost category which covers other things like, as I don't know if a lot of people would know this, but then the UK, you do buy a health insurance in the beginning before we go to the UK. So yeah, coming back, we do buy a health insurance as part of the visa application, and Commonwealth, as I said, pays for everything in the visa application. So the health insurance is paid for already, which is called, and then you get medical services from the National Health Services, which is the NHS, for free. Uh, what is not covered in the NHS are eye treatments and dental treatments. The Commonwealth also covers these for the scholars if they are required. So it's a scholarship that pays for everything. You feel like a salaried employee, and you can just you are paid to study. That's it. So that's about the Commonwealth Scholarship.
That sounds very promising, because people usually wonder, like, how much would it cover, what extra would I have to put? But the way you're explaining it, including warm clothing allowance and everything covered in the visa, it sounds very promising.
So yeah, in the end, so people think about how much would we have to contribute after getting a scholarship. On the other hand, in case of the Commonwealth Scholarship, it is how much would we end up saving after that 1 year, which we can keep with ourselves. Yeah.
That's nice. So now that we know a little about the Commonwealth Scholarship, what are the top scholarship opportunities that are available for, masters in computer science programs in the UK? And where can students find reliable information around them?
Right. So the list that I'm giving right now is not an exhaustive list. I don't think it is even possible to create an exhaustive list because there are so many things hidden here and there that uh, people just come across at certain times. But yeah, these are the more well-known scholarships that I'm talking about. Obviously, the Commonwealth Master Scholarship, which I already mentioned, in brief. There is also the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. There is a difference between the two, which I'll come to later. But now let's try and list the scholarships. So the Commonwealth Master Scholarship, the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. There is the Shivning Scholarship, which is also very similar to Commonwealth. So it also covers. It is given by the same department. It covers the same things. It gives the same similar amount of money. So Commonwealth and Shivning are really really similar in terms of everything: application, prestige, money given, things covered, etc., etc. Then there are scholarships by specific universities. I will have to mention Cambridge and Oxford here because Cambridge and Oxford give a very, very large number of scholarships. Uh, Although one should not get too hopeful because all of these very many large number of
Mhm.
scholarships is for PhD candidates and for master's candidates, giving more importance to PhD candidates, and it's for every field that exists in the university. And the UK universities in general have a very many large number of courses that are even difficult to comprehend. So if you ask me what are the master's degree courses offered by the University of Edinburgh where I have studied, I will not be able to give an exhaustive list. Nobody will be able to. So there are so many different courses. Same goes for Oxford and Cambridge or any other. So there is the Gates Cambridge Scholarship and a Cambridge Trust Scholarship, which is for Cambridge University applicants and students only. There is a Rhodes Scholarship for Oxford University only, and then there is another. I don't know what they call it. Some like you have the Cambridge Trust Scholarship. There is a set of scholarships at Oxford as well. Besides this, so these are all full scholarships that I spoke about right now. So they cover everything, including a monthly stipend or a salary, whatever you like to call it. Uh, Besides these, there are certain part scholarships. There is something called, since this is a computer science uh, talk, there is something called the Deep Mind Scholarship, which is specifically meant for computer science students. Okay, so it was not available to us for sustainable energy. The Deep Mind Scholarship is a scholarship which is offered in every university in the UK, almost every university in the UK. And however, unlike the Commonwealth Master Scholarship or the Shivning Scholarship, which is one application procedure for every university. For the DeepMind scholarship, the student has to apply to the university, and every university has its own uh, application procedure for the DeepMind scholarship, including some universities might want to give it only to PhD candidates, some might want to give it only to master's candidates, so on. So it is worth checking individual university websites for this particular DeepMind scholarship. The same goes for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. I'll come to that later. Besides this, every university, I mentioned Oxford and Cambridge because the number of scholarships are higher, but almost every university in the UK, every major university that I can think of, be it Edinburgh, be it University College London, University of Southampton, Leeds, every university that I can think of, Imperial College, each university has at least one or two full scholarship options for various master's degrees. So it is also worth checking their websites. The selection procedures, the essays that the students need to write are more or less similar across all of these scholarships because they end up looking for the same kinds of things. But yeah, I think this is more or less a list. There is also the Great Scholarship offered by the British Council. That is not a full scholarship. If I'm not mistaken, they offer £10,000 towards the university fees, which almost covers half of the fees, I would say, depending on the university. So yeah, these are the scholarships more or less. An exhaustive list. Okay, again, not sorry, it's not an exhaustive list, but a list can be found on the British Council website, which I think is the first place that a student can look for scholarships in the UK. But then it always helps to look up the university websites also where the student is interested, because sometimes the universities end up having information about one or two more scholarships or their own scholarships, which might not be there on the British Council website. But I think the most comprehensive and the first website that one should open is the British Council website for scholarships.
So, that's pretty, I mean, although you said we cannot have an exhaustive list, I think some of them come on like the top priority list, maybe because they fully fund, maybe because, they're easy to sort of, I mean, in comparison, relatively easier to acquire, etc. So, on the lines of these scholarships, can you share some tips on how to write a strong scholarship application?
Hmm. Okay, interesting. So the thing is, okay, the first thing that I'd like to mention here is no scholarship is easier or difficult than the other. Okay, there is a common. Okay, I feel this is my thinking. I may be wrong, but I feel that every scholarship has its own application procedure, which is self-sufficient. A and B. Uh, there is a general perception that getting the Commonwealth and the Shivling scholarship is more difficult because they cover every university, so you might be competing with a larger number of candidates. Yes, which is true. However, I do not think that uh, it essentially means that somebody who has gotten the Commonwealth scholarship or the Shivling scholarship would also get one of the other scholarships. I don't think so. Okay, so I think it's equally easy or difficult to get these scholarships. There is a certain amount of chance involved. There is a certain amount of specific skill or specific outlook involved. Maybe a particular scholarship is looking for this particular thing and one person happens to have it. So as I said in the beginning, I will expand more on the general bit. Yes, there is some general advice that we can give because the scholarships more or less end up looking for uh, similar kinds of stuff, but every case is different, every student is different, they have a different past, every scholarship is different, every university is different. So ultimately the decision doesn't happen on the basis, as far as I understand, the decision doesn't happen on the basis of, okay, the student has gotten this marks, they have got this skills, so take them. They will consider each student's application separately, each student's situations separately, and then decide whether the student is going to get or not. So there is, I wouldn't say one is easier than the other. They're all equally easy or they're all equally difficult. Now, uh, about creating a good scholarship essay. Uh, the first thing I think is to know. So, if I want to write a scholarship essay, I'd have to think, what do I want? Why am I even applying for this scholarship? This is the first question that the student needs to ask themselves. Uh, the answer to this question is going to be very, very insightful, because a lot of the times I feel I felt this myself at some points earlier in my career, and while mentoring some other students, I felt this as well, that people are often not sure about what they want to study and why they want to study. Somebody just wants to go and get a degree abroad, which is not a good enough reason to be awarded a scholarship. So it's important to explore myself before I go ahead and do my applications. What do I want to do? And why do I want to do it? Where do I want to reach uh, using this intermediate step as a scholarship or a master's degree? These are the first set of questions that one needs to answer. And once we get to understand that where do I want to reach and why I want to reach, that sort of gets the the steps for the scholarship essay, because we would need to write down what is it that we want to achieve, what changes are those that we want to make after the degree is complete. Because what we do need to understand is these scholarships give a very, very large amount of money. At least the Commonwealth and the Shivning and the Gates and the Rhodes, these two, it's a very, very large amount of money. So the question is, why would somebody pay that money in order to get me an education, right? It comes from the British taxpayers, or the taxpayers of different countries combined together into a Commonwealth fund. So why would that be spent on me? Okay, I have to be good enough, yes, but this good doesn't have a definition. So what do I have to have? I need to have some impact in the world, which this scholarship is trying to buy. So it's sort of an investment for the future, that we invest on the student, and the student goes ahead and achieves this and this for the world, which is where the taxpayers' money comes into use. So the first thing is, I want to get a master's degree in the UK. Bad reason to be applying for a scholarship. but I want to do a master's degree in the UK because I want to achieve this and this change, either in my field of study or in the larger world, so that people can benefit or scientists in the future can benefit, or whatever it can be. Some kind of an impact should be there. I wouldn't say has to be there, because I don't like to make very generalized statements, because as I said, every case is different, but there should be an impact that the student is looking for. Secondly, another thing that the student should think about is, so how do I connect my past with the future that I'm trying to go to? Uh, these might sound a little abstract, but these are things that the students must explore uh, within themselves before even trying to set down an essay. So, how does my past relate to my future? Now, somebody who is trying to do a computer science master's might think maybe they have not done a bachelor's in computer science, but a related engineering degree, and maybe they want to go ahead into a computer science or a data master's or whatever it is. So the question is, let's take me for an example. My physics background might not have been fully relevant. I use the word fully because it was partially relevant. Might not have been fully relevant to a sustainable energy program, but there would be certain overlaps that I have studied uh, before and things that I will be doing in future, and there would be certain things where I find a gap. Okay, I did study these things which will be useful, but there are these things which I also need to know to reach my future goals, which I haven't studied in my previous course. That is also a connection. So connection doesn't essentially have to be I know everything. It's I know some things. I don't know a lot of other things. I want to learn them, which is why I want to do this master. And after learning these things, I can reach at so and so point and do this research or join this company to have this impact in the world. So I think these are the broad guidelines that I can give. Uh, Beyond this, every student and every case is different, so we cannot give any further generalized advice. It also helps to have some extracurricular experience. Okay, that could be anything,
Mhm.
but it helps to have some extracurricular experience because it helps to show that you are a slightly more rounded personality, rather than just
Mhm.
concentrating on one thing. People who do, again, I fear generalization, but people who do a lot of extracurriculars tend to have better communication skills, which really helps not just in writing a scholarship application, but even in future when you are coordinating with a research group, with companies, with professors, other students, or whoever. So having extracurricular experience definitely helps, but if somebody doesn't, they should not be discouraged. Every case is different. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, true. These are some super insightful, tips. Why we keep all these in mind? Do you think grades play a very important role to get scholarships? Like, if you've got low grades but good extracurriculars, or like, stuff like that. So, is grades does grades have a lot of weightage? Is my
Grades do have a considerable weightage, but they are not the only factor that decide upon a student's scholarship application. Let me put it slightly more practically. So when the Commonwealth, again, this is my thinking and my understanding after talking to multiple scholars from multiple regions of the country and multiple countries. So suppose the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission. I'm using the term Commonwealth over and over again because I have been a Commonwealth scholar, but then it goes for the other scholarships as well. Suppose a scholarship commission is
question.
trying to decide upon 10 different candidates from 10 different countries who have applied. Now, if there are a lot of Indian students here in this panel, they will try and they will be able to relate to this, that in different states of India or in different universities of India, there are different marking schemes. Some people say Calcutta University doesn't give marks, that university gives a lot of marks, so on and so forth. It is not possible for foreign universities to understand these differences, which university gives more marks and which doesn't. It is not possible for them all the more to compare between universities in different countries, because the marking schemes, the skills required, the courses taught might be entirely different, right?
Mhm.
So grades are really important. So if somebody ends up getting really bad, that is that could be detrimental to getting a scholarship. So you need to have good grades, but they don't, I don't want to generalize, but they don't have to be essentially stellar. Okay, you don't have to be a 99% candidate to get a Commonwealth scholarship. The eligibility criteria is 60% for Indians, and they would have some other eligibility criteria for different countries, maybe, or maybe it's the same. So the eligi- the eligibility criteria is the eligibility criteria. There is no other hidden criterion. So anybody who has gotten 60 or above has an equal chance of getting the scholarship. Everything else depends on the application. Okay, how
Yeah.
the student has written
Yeah.
the
I mean,
essays. References are really important. The professors would be recommending the student how those references are written,
mhm,
what the details would be there. Having extracurriculars, as I said, helped, but then you cannot really generalize that a person has 99% but no extracurriculars. Would he or she get the scholarship? We don't know. Maybe, maybe not. A person has 65 and a
mhm.
lot of extracurriculars. Would they get the scholarship? Perhaps, perhaps not. It depends on the other candidates as well who are applying. It depends on how each application compares to the other. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. I mean, yeah. So what I understand and what I think students have to keep in mind is every application is completely different. So if the grades are really bad, but there's something else that's really putting their application above other people, it is still a possibility. So yeah, I think like you say, we should not be generalizing this answer, but it's good.
Hmm.
It's good, for people to know that although they have something somewhere around 60-70%, they shouldn't be discouraged to at least try. So that was
70
a
is really
very,
good, by the way.
yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, but still,
Yeah.
there's this notion that you've got to have 90 plus, 95 plus, and all that. So it's a good thing that people can know that they can be hopeful. So
For
moving on
example,
to the
at
next question.
uh,
Hmm.
yeah, sorry, just to complete what you were trying to say. For example, I studied my masters at Calcutta University in physics. 90% don't exist in that department. Okay, so if I had to get a 90%, by don't exist, I mean in the last 150 years of the history of Calcutta University, nobody has gotten 90% in physics in the masters, probably. So if 90% was really a criterion, then nobody from the University of Calcutta would end up getting a Commonwealth scholarship. But I did. I don't know about anybody else who did, but I did. So definitely without a 90, it works as well. A lot of people say that it's important to have published papers. I did not have a published paper. Most of my Commonwealth colleagues, the ones I know, the Indians, or the ones from other countries who were there in the UK with a Commonwealth or a Shivling scholarship, none of them, maybe one person did have published papers, but most of the people that I know did not have published papers. So it definitely helps to have a paper, but it's not the deciding factor. Yeah.
It's not a deal breaker. Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Akashdeep. So, my next question to you is, can you speak about the role of mentorship or, networking that played a considerable part in your own educational journey, and how students can leverage these resources to achieve their goals?
Hmm. Okay. Mentorship could be really important or not. As I said, every case is different.
Mm-hmm,
I was so
mm-hmm,
For me, I didn't have a mentor. Okay.
mm-hmm,
There was nobody who told me that these scholarships exist. There was nobody who told me how to apply, and I ended up
mm-hmm,
getting the Commonwealth scholarship on my first attempt, on my first application.
mm-hmm,
That does not
mm-hmm,
mean, however, that mentorship is not required. The reason being, okay, I don't want to put this across as I knew a lot of things. I actually did not, but it happened by chance. When I went over to the UK as a Commonwealth scholar, we had so the Commonwealth Commission also gives us certain training sessions. Okay, on how to write, funding applications, this and that. So I went to this funding application seminar because I wanted to know what are the things that people should keep in mind while writing, since I did not have a
mm-hmm,
mentor. But
mm-hmm,
to my surprise, to my pleasant surprise, I noticed that almost everything that they told in that seminar, that you should keep this in mind, you should keep that in mind, so on and so forth, I implicitly had those things in mind without anyone telling me. Okay, so does that mean I was really talented? No, I don't think so. I didn't have particular mentorship for British university and scholarship applications, but I did have a lot of writing training when I was in school. So I went to St. Xavier's in Kolkata, which always gave, they really trained us to write good essays and good applications, or whatever it is. We were given a lot of writing training, and I think a lot of schools would do that. So I think it was that mentoring, 5 years, 7 years, or whatever back, which helped me get the Commonwealth Scholarship eventually. So mentoring is important. Of course, that was not mentored keeping Commonwealth in mind, but somehow I did get to understand what to do and what not to, but a lot of people don't get to understand. So each case is different. Some people need advice, some don't. We can't generalize. The other thing is networking, yes, is important. So if I tell you, so yes, I came across the Commonwealth Scholarship from the British Council website, but uh, a friend of mine who already lived in the UK, I think she was a student at
Mhm.
London School of Economics. So one day I was speaking with her uh, about what scholarship options exist in the UK, because she had already studied a degree there. And
Mhm.
she told me, so as far as I can remember, there is only this Commonwealth Scholarship and nothing else. But then don't put
Mhm.
your heart to it, because it's impossible to get it. Only very few people get it. Okay. So
Mhm.
she did tell me about and that is when, although I had seen a number of scholarships on the Commonwealth website, hearing about Commonwealth from her brought it into me. Okay, Commonwealth is really important because a lot of people know about it. Then, well, she had said it's impossible to get it, and that sort of, made me really, I don't know what to say. But then I thought, why is it impossible to get? Somebody must be getting it, right? Even if it's 5 people,
Yeah,
those 5 people do get it. So why can I not be one of those five? Okay, maybe it's a big dream,
exactly.
but what's the harm in trying? I can try. If I get it, very good. If I don't get it, well, I have nothing to lose and nothing to regret, because I tried. And I did.
Exactly. As good as not trying, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. So if I don't try, I will never get it. So I'd rather try, and there is no application fee for these scholarships. So we lose nothing
Mhm.
other than maybe 10 days of work in preparing the essay. Nothing
Mhm.
else goes wrong, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
networking is really important, because one can come across what scholarships are there. So I gave a list. Maybe somebody studied at some particular university which has one scholarship which I am not aware of. Okay. So networking helps because you get to know the nitty gritties of the thing, or of the entire procedure. The other thing is, for example, the students who are listening to me today, it's essentially some form of mentoring and networking. So whatever
Yeah.
experiences that I'm carrying across is, and what they are taking away from this talk is essentially through networking and mentoring. So it is really important, but depends from case to
Yeah,
case.
I mean, by now the viewers are probably getting an idea of why mentorship is important because since you gave your shot at a lot of scholarship applications, since you were actually, actually in the UK, you got your Commonwealth scholarship, and all this experience is what's giving you so much, info that you are sharing with them. Probably you could have read, 100 blogs but you still wouldn't be able to give this concrete information if you hadn't experienced this in the first hand, which is why we keep telling viewers on Nebula that we have people who either have the experience of doing it firsthand or have the experience of training people over and over again to do this firsthand. So that's the kind of mentorship and networking, maybe with fellow peers and the experts that are on the platform, which is very important for them. And all your answers are just adding to those.
Yeah, there's one thing I'd like to add. So as I told you, I didn't have a mentor, so I didn't understand the importance of mentorship then. But eventually, I ended up mentoring a few candidates on a very personal basis, my friends, or friends of friends, or whatever. While mentoring them, I realized how important mentorship could be, because they came up with a number of questions which I was like, okay, I never thought of this, but I somehow managed to, get it done in my application. But they would not if I hadn't told them. So the thing is, a mentor would not write your essay. A mentor would not tell you what to write in the essay. That's very wrong mentorship. How I take mentorship, as what I've done for other students, is I sort of give them pointers to think about, and once they know what to think about and how to think about, the students should be able to put down their own essays. And that, I think, is the correct mentorship, because if I give everything, then it's my application, it's not the student's application. That is unfair competition to everybody else who is applying, who are not having this mentorship. So rather, if I give thinking pointers, it helps to see whether the student is able to use this training to, prepare themselves for the scholarship.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. So now that we have last 5 minutes of our talk remaining, I mean, there's only so much one person can cover in a span of 45 minutes. So before we pick up one or two questions from the audience chat section in the last 5 minutes, I want everybody
Mhm.
to know that if you have more questions, if you want, personalized guidance, if you have questions that were probably not answered in this session, even by the end of it, you can just click on Akashdeep's profile and you can book one-on-one sessions with him, and you can get your query solved. And along with Akash, we have a whole bunch of mentors listed for all the niche you would want. So we will try to cover whatever we can in the next 5 minutes. But if there is something that you were not able to get answers for, please feel free to go navigate around the platform and book one-on-one sessions to get all your queries solved, because it's high time now and it's very important that you get answers to all those questions. So, Akash, let's move on to some questions from the audience.
Yes, I
Maybe
can't see the
let's
chat,
pick
so if you
a
can just read the questions for me.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I will. I will. So, there are many questions, but let me pick one of the basic questions some people are asking, because they probably are at that level of research by now. So, if you could quickly tell them, what are the resources and methods to apply for these scholarships? Like, I know we've spoken so much, and this is like very basic, but a lot of people have put that, so I think we should give them a direction.
What are the, sorry, I missed what you said. What are the resources and?
What are the channels to apply for these scholarships? Like I think what they mean is it just the college university website or the scholarship
Okay,
website?
okay, okay.
Like,
Right.
is there a
Right. Okay. So the Commonwealth Master Scholarship, the Shivning, these have their own websites where you have to go and put in an application. Please keep track of the deadlines. For the Gates Cambridge Scholarship, Rhodes Oxford Scholarship, obviously it's a university website, because these are any university specific scholarship would be at the university website. The DeepMind Scholarship, as I already said, is from the university websites, any university website. For the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, it is through the university again. So some universities offer Commonwealth Shared Scholarships in only some master's degree programs. So it's worth checking every university website to check which Commonwealth Shared Scholarship you can get and apply through the university. For the Master's Commonwealth Scholarship, it's a generalized application on the Commonwealth Scholarship website. Also, there is another additional application that needs to be put in the nominating agency. For Indians, it is the Ministry of Education. So one application needs to go to the Ministry of Education, one application needs to go to the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission. Very similar applications, but both within the deadline. I'm sure every other country would have a nominating agency. Uh, and university scholarships from their specific websites. Shivning has their own website. Saltire Scholarship from Scotland has their own website. So any non-university specific scholarship would be that website. The British Council is a good way to reach that website if one cannot find it, although a Google search should be enough. That's it. Yeah.
So one more question we have is, how early should I start preparing or applying for these good scholarships?
Hmm. This is a very good question. It's difficult to give any time frame in general, but at least 3 to 4 months in advance so that you know what you're looking for. Okay, so another thing is a lot of these scholarships might want students to have an offer letter from the university already. A lot of them might not. For me, for our year, Commonwealth Scholarship needed us to have offer letters before we applied. After that, they removed that requirement. They might bring it in some other year. So I think the Indian ministry had put that, but whatever, there was a condition. So for us, since that was a condition, we'd have to apply to the university early, get the offer, and then put in the application. So it's always good to apply to the universities as soon as you can. The applications mostly open in October in the UK, sometime in October, first week, second week, depending on the university. So it's good to apply as early as one can, uh, get uh, get the offer, and then apply to the scholarships, because then even the scholarship commissions are sure that okay, this candidate has gotten the offers, and this would be a sure shot candidate. sometimes, very rarely, it does happen that a student might get a scholarship offer but hasn't gotten the university that they had opted for. So it just goes away. So it's best to get the university done first. Sometimes they do allow you
Yeah.
to change the university, but sometimes not. So it's good to get the universities done.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Akash. We have many more questions, but we have reached the end of today's time frame. And in 15 minutes, another talk is going to start, so we can't even be extending this. But I want all the viewers to know that all your questions that haven't been answered will be converted into a quest, and answers for that will be available on nebula.com, answered by our top mentors. So you don't have to worry about that. And once again, thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights with us today, Akashdeep. Your experience and knowledge
Yeah,
has
I
been
just missed
truly
one thing.
enlightening.
Sorry, I just
Hmm.
missed one thing. It's
Hmm.
good to have the IELTS done while you start the university application, but the IELTS should not be given 1 year in advance because the IELTS is valid only for 2 years. So
Yeah.
try to give it as late as possible, but definitely by the time one is starting the university application, so that we know that everything will be sure.
I really want to thank you for taking your time out, and I'm sure a very busy schedule of yours, to come here, talk to our viewers, and help them out. And we hope to have more and more sessions with you, so that a lot more people get to learn from you. And as
I think I
we
have
wrap
another
this
session
session up,
today. I think I have another Commonwealth session today later on. So if there are some questions that have not been answered, we can take them up there.
yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
mm,
So,
yeah.
Akashdeep, do you have any closing words to say in a very short span, maybe?
Um, get to know what you want to do, and then apply. And all the best.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Akash. So, I want all the viewers to know that there are some questions asked about how Nebula helps the aspirants, and how Nebula, what are the services Nebula provides. I think you are new users to Nebula. So today at 4 p.m. To 4:45 p.m., there is a breakout room organized. People from all three tracks, that is, you are in track two. There are more people in track one and track three. So everybody will be joining that room, where we will be having a very fun quiz, a giveaway, and along with that, we will be answering all your questions about how you can use Nebula, and you can optimize Nebula to benefit you the most. So please make sure you attend the breakout session at 4 o'clock. It's going to be very fun and very informative. If you want, maybe also set a reminder on your phones, because it's very important, because that will help you to get an idea of the platform, so that you can keep using it and keep benefiting from it. So do not forget to join it. And I would also like to remind you all that at 12 p.m. there are three more talks happening in three different tracks. The links to which will be put in the chat box, and you can join whichever talk you want to. And thank you once again for joining us today. And it was very great having you all. It was very great having you, Akash, and it was amazing to have your lovely audience with us. And I am looking forward to see you all in the talks that are coming up throughout today and tomorrow. Thank you all.